How would you right now, if you were giving advice to someone, tell them to get around successful people, positive people? What's your advice there?
Yeah, great question. Do you know what? And this is a conversation I have a lot with people. I often, there's a couple of things here. I'm a huge fan of, and I kind of pride myself on the fact that I feel like I can have good relationships with anybody, right? So I do not believe that everybody you have in your life has to add, monetary or business value or anything like that. I think there's a lot of people out there that might have a lot of very hollow relationships. Right? I think that the best relationships you can have are definitely with those people who are close to you, family, close friends, etc. And never forget who those people are who are always in your corner no matter what, right? So that's the first thing. But in terms of being able to establish your circle of influence, right, which is people who you can learn from, people who have been there and done that, there's a couple of things here. They don't always have to be 10 levels in front of you, right? They might just be someone who's, 10 or 20% further advanced than you. They might have been around a little bit longer than you. They might have been shown a little bit more success than you or had a couple of wins that you are inspired by. I always think to be able to advise someone, you just need to know a little bit more than they do, right? Because that puts you in a position where you can add some value to them. But I think the biggest thing that stops people from surrounding themselves with really positive influence is that people feel like people are not contactable. The awesome thing about today's world is everybody's contactable. Like I said, some of the guys I've met with, and I mentioned, Mike Duff, and I mentioned Matthew Michaelwitz and that kind of thing. You don't meet with these guys because you sit around twiddling your thumbs waiting to find out whether or not they're going to. You meet with them because you put the feelers out, you make contact with them, you compliment them on the work that they've already done that you might have benefited from already. So it's all about you've just got to put yourself out there, right? A lot of these guys want to give back. A lot of these guys are that's where they draw their energy from, is the fact that, they have been there and done this, but they want to help people now who are up and coming to get better and be more successful and all that kind of thing. So, if you can have a half an hour conversation with someone who's got 20 years on him, who has demonstrated the things that you see as successful or whatever, and it might not even be from a tangible point of view, right? It might just be that you've got someone who, seems to just be intrinsically happy all the time, right?
Yeah.
Those types of things. Some of the gems that they'll drop you in a 20 or 20 minute or half an hour conversation is worth, 10 years of traditional study, right? So I think, number one, put yourself out there. Number two, if you get value from something, if you read someone's book or you listen to someone's podcast and you enjoy it, let them know. Open up some dialogue with them. Thank the people. The information's out there, right? And then the last thing that I would say is that you don't necessarily have to be, best mates with all these people. You can still surround. What are you doing? All you got to do is look around on trains and, any type of public transport and things like that. You look at public places and have a look at what people are looking at on their phones, what they're listening to in their ears, right? Most people aren't necessarily actively looking to better themselves. So if you spend, 2 hours playing Angry Birds when you could have spent 2 hours, looking at, and you could have spent 2 hours kind of listening to a podcast in a field that you're interested in, regardless of what that might be, everybody, it's out, the information's there, you just got to find it.
Yes. And I'm going to take that advice straight on, because I just love that. Compliment someone on stuff you've enjoyed and used, and use that as a conversation starter. And that's what this sort of series is about, is just a chance for me to ask questions on how to improve my life for people that I want to be more like.
Totally. And also, right, when you meet with some of these guys, like I say, you might meet someone who's 10 or 20% more advanced than you are in a particular field, right? So you talk to those guys, and then they introduce you to someone who might be 10 or 20% more advanced than them. So, as long as it's something, again, huge fan of focus, right? As long as it's something you're focusing on, you will start to see the opportunity. You might be in a conversation with someone and they mention somebody's name who it sounds like you would like to meet them, right? Now, if you hadn't been focusing on the fact that you want to build your circle of influence of people, you're not going to notice that opportunity. But when you're thinking about it, you're going to notice it. So, this stuff isn't rocket science, but it's just you've got to want it. You've got to want to actually get yourself out.
Yeah, that's the main principle behind goal setting. It's not that it's not that you're creating it. The universe is creating it. You open your mind up to the fact that it's available when you know what you want, and then when these things pop up that before you wouldn't even notice, is just that that will help you get to that goal I've been thinking about all week. Rather than before, it's just
It's not when you know, if you want to buy. I remember when I was about 18, I wanted to buy a nice car, right? That's important at that stage of your life, yeah. So that was something that I wanted to do, and I remember it clearly. It was a Subaru GT Premium, right? Now I don't even know why I wanted to buy it, but now, at the time I started seeing them everywhere. Once you lock in on something, it is everywhere, and it's not because more were being manufactured or more were being distributed. It's just that I was aware of it, right? So you can apply that to every aspect of your life. But I think having clarity and focus on what you want allows you to filter the information that you need, so that you can then go and act in a way that's according to your own goals and your own vision and your own values for your life.